Out here again, first day of summer. Summer solstice. Yeah, longest day of the year. One of them high occult days for y'all devil worshiping type people. For me, it's Tuesday. Came out yesterday and it was, well, actually it's not that hot today. I think it might be 82 now, 83. It was like 79 yesterday. And it just was too cool. Because after I've come out here and walked in a few of those 95-degree joints, couldn't even get my heart rate up yesterday. I got it up a little bit today. We fitting to hit this, yeah, getting ready to go up there. I don't know. I always say it's about a 100-foot climb. It probably is. I helped a guy cut down a 70-foot tall pecan tree one time. That's taller, so there you go. I thought it was hotter today. I'm tempted to start wearing a sweatshirt when it's only like 80, 82 or something. Just to get the full effect. That's it, cross the bridge, no going back now. Up and away without my Superman cape. I tell you, heat. Yeah, that was a movie, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about actual heat. Heat is your buddy when you're working out. If you're really trying to get a good workout. If it's too cool, it's like, can't quite get going. But then again, that heat, I mean, that's the whole point. It makes it harder, more difficult. And if you get too much of it, you know, you might like drop dead and stuff like that. Some people would see that as a negative. I don't know. I ain't never died, so it might not be that bad. $151. But I tell you, I've said it before. You don't know who you really are until you get out in the heat. Or you get under some heat. Like stressful situations. Of course, right now, here we go. Dun-dun-dun. Heart rate 161. I'm somewhat glad it's not 95 degrees. So, you know, take the easy days. You gotta take the hard days too. You don't know who you are till you get in some heat. You know, it's interesting. It's like when you learn something new. Like, I'm a trainer at work, and I train people to drive forklifts. Really complicated stuff. But it's funny how they get off of you for a couple hours. After about 3-4 hours, you can get them going pretty good. It's just you and them, right? They get comfortable with you. They're probably glad you're there. Yeah, I just about walked up on a big bouncing whitetail. And she ran down here, so I'll probably walk into her again. They're good at walking on the trail. Yep, there she goes. But like you're training somebody, and they start getting the feel of it. And it's like, oh, okay, I got this dude locked in now. He's on lock. He's good. That's when you're kind of up in a certain spot of the building by yourself. Then you take them out where there's more traffic. And inevitably, you'll run across some of your coworkers. So you have to kind of pull off to the side, wait for them. Or even worse, your trainee sitting there putting a pallet up in the rack, and now one of the more experienced workers has to come and wait on them, you know, sitting there watching. Oh, all of a sudden, that person that was doing so good, now they got an audience. And it's like they just forgot everything they learned. That's a form of being under heat. You got people watching you. There's many forms of it. I tell you, and I've probably said this before too, we gotta fail a whole lot of times before we ever succeed. Like failure is just built into the system. You're going to fail. In a spiritual sense, you gotta fail many times, unless you're just not growing any. Because you don't really know what's wrong with you. You think you're a good person. You think everything's fine. Then you're reading the Bible and it tells you, listen a lot and talk a little. Not an exact quote, but. And the old saying, you know, God gave you one mouth and two ears. But then you get in an argument with somebody. It's easy to think about, like right now I'm out here peaceful by myself. Ain't gonna be no argument right now. I'm out here doing my own thing. You know. So when you're away from a circumstance, it's like, oh, I can be calm. Next time somebody gets in my face, I'll be calm. Yeah. Except it always hits you by surprise. And you fail. You fail at it. You might even, quote, win the argument. Or you might raise your voice, intimidate them or whatever. You might be the boss. You might be the parent. Whatever. You might be the bigger person. Like physically, like you beat them up or something. You might win the argument. That doesn't mean you won anything. You know, you lost your cool. And then you're mad at yourself later. Feel like a chump, which, you know, you kind of are, but I think you have to be sort of philosophical about it. You know, about 2 hours later, it takes me about 2 hours to calm down. About 2 hours later, you start thinking about it, and then you're like, how did that even start? I don't want to argue with the person. I failed again. Or like, you know, I'm about to turn 55. Why am I still getting in stupid arguments with people? Why must I try to convince them that I'm right? And why must they try to convince me that they're right? But that's what we are, humans. That's what we do. But somehow in the Christian walk, there's got to be ways around that, because we're told not to do that kind of thing. I tell you. But, you know, I guess the point of this is, you know, don't lose your mind. Don't give up even when you do something stupid. You're going to do stupid X amount of times. Umpteen times. Even when you're in your 50s, you're still... If you're younger than me and you're hearing this, you'll still be doing stupid stuff when you're in your 50s. Don't worry. Like walking through spider webs. That's kind of stupid. But, you know, one of the things in the Bible, it says be quick to hear and slow to speak. It's very hard to get into a good argument if you're slow to speak. And I just know I've heard that quick answer, it just gets you every time. Just about always gets you. You're almost always wrong when you blurt out an answer. And then, you know, the stakes get higher. Now the other person, they gotta feel like they gotta step up and blurt something back. And, you know, all of a sudden you've brought yourself down sort of to the level of chimpanzees or something. You done got down in that reptile brain or monkey brain or something. It's kind of like Peter in the Bible. Like, you got all his bad points, but you can't heal nobody. You got the bad without the good. So just walking and rambling a little bit. About to run up this little hill right here, though. Oof. It's walking in the summer. Springtime is the best, I guess. The summer, everything and its cousin is falling on this trail. It's nothing but sticks. You take 2 steps and something else is wrapped around your foot. Oh well. Here's what it is. You gotta have summer, you gotta have 4 seasons. That's the way God designed it. You know, I often wonder this many times. You got the Bible, you read it, but then sometimes you sit back and you go, now what was Jesus really like? What was Paul and Peter? What were they really like? You know, they write letters. We read those letters. Well, me and you can write letters. You know, you can't pick up a tone of voice in a letter. And, you know, a lot of times you don't commit stuff to writing. You know, you don't blurt out stuff in a letter. Or I wonder, what are Christians supposed to really be like? Be honest with you, can't say that I know. Even though I've been around Christians all my life. Don't know that I've seen too many examples. To be honest with you, as a group of people, I just don't think we're there yet. Plain and simple. We're living so far below what we should be. So some of these verses, like we read verses like that, be quick to hear and slow to speak. And when we're nice and calm, that makes sense. But then it doesn't take but like 1 second to get us out of our little calm spot. Don't even mention stuff like Facebook. Everybody's a tough guy on Facebook. Everybody's a know-it-all internet warrior. But then we carry that over into our conversations. We just ready with that quick answer. And then, you know, you listen to music that pumps you up. You watch movies. Heck, you sit there by yourself, watch a movie, you're talking to the movie screen. We won't even talk about the crap on TV. I mean, going back, showing my age, but, you know, crap like, remember the Jerry Springer show and stuff like that? Just ridiculous, but people soaked it up. Is that really building any kind of character? You wonder why you lose your temper? So, anyway, you gotta fail though. I guess the trick is to attempt to learn. I can tell you, you ain't gonna fail once and learn. You gotta fail bad. Over and over. At least that's what I think. Till finally, it's like something dawns on you. Gee, maybe there's a better way. And then you get into the problem. I'm the super prime example of that, where you learn something, you learn a lesson, but then you forget it after a while. That can be seen with like diet and exercise. You know, I know I've lost the same 50 pounds twice now at least. Foolishness. But you got to go through it, you know, till eventually something clicks. Of course, getting along with other people, that's kind of a two-way street. And that's your alibi, right? That's your excuse. I get along with everybody except for them. Yeah. Maybe everybody else just puts up with you. And that person calls you on your BS. Maybe you bully everybody else, and that person won't be bullied. Anyway, don't get too discouraged if you slip up. Try to learn from it. Very difficult. Just go to the Bible, look up the subject. You'll find something on it. It probably could just be summed up as saying, stop trying to be right all the time, stop running your mouth all the time. And for goodness sakes, that quick answer, that's a killer. You can tell I recently had an argument with somebody. That's why that's on my mind. It doesn't even matter whose fault it is. It's always the other person's fault. But the other person thought it was your fault. Still, two grown-ups argued. Oh well, here we are. Baseball field, beautiful day, nobody up here. They was up here yesterday playing ball. These guys crack me up, man. They pull up smoking a cigarette and jump out. Hey, bro, you want to play some ball? No, I'm good, man. I'm good. Dude said, yeah, you ought to be doing this. I'm like, doing what? Over here playing ball. Oh, no. Let me just stick to what I'm doing. All right. I'll catch y'all later.